Hi, welcome to Simon on the Sofa. I'm on the streets today, exploring love, as you know, exploring consciousness, unconditional love, and this new paradigm shift that I believe can and is occurring more and more. A lot of systems are breaking down at the moment in society. A lot of people feel uncertain and insecure, and there's a lot of change happening. So anyway, I'm still out there, keeping it positive, searching, seeing if love will prevail. And I'm going to go down to an eco-village today, which I bumped into a lady here a week or so ago. And there's an eco-village just down from me on Kew Bridge. And she talks about, the evolving consciousness and supporting community and how you can live off the land and so on. So I'm going to go down there now and speak to some of the guys. Hopefully, it's about 11 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if they should be up in an eco-village. I'm hoping so. Foraging and looking for their food. So yeah, let's go down there and let's find out a little bit more about an eco-village. Let's hit the road. Just behind those blue fences is the eco-village, and as you can see on the signs, it says truth. We can make the change, and then just in there it says be the change you wish to see in the world. Freedom lies within. There's the entrance to the eco-village. So this is the entrance. Lovely sign saying welcome. Looks like free tea and coffee over there. It's got a very welcoming entrance with a dream catcher there, look. Nice dream catcher. I might make a wish as I enter into this eco-village. This might be the hangout area. Some really unusual, some would call them tents. This one's got a whole hut going on. Oh, here you go. But if you come back again, I will just right here for you. I'll wait just right here for you, and we'll carry on tomorrow. Hi, Gareth. Hello, Gareth. Simon on the Sofa. I'm down here today. This is Gareth. I've just met him at the eco-village in Kew. But we don't have a sofa, so I'm just going to ask Gareth a few questions. He's going to give us an insight into this village that he's been here 11 months, right? Mm-hmm. Been here 11 months. Talk up a little bit because I didn't bring the mic down. So yeah, just give me, tell me, yeah, what's happened so far in the 11 months? What's just in a nutshell? I know you got to shoot off in a second, but
okay. Well, 11 months ago, on the 6th of June, we arranged for people to come onto this land, and we kind of approached environmental groups, activists, put the word out. And on the first day, 70 people came onto this site, and the next day there's about a dozen that remained. And then since then we've just been trying to build up a community that's working towards self-sufficiency.
Self-sufficiency, sustainability, and you know, and not. I heard you mention something. Not living with money, right? What's the?
Yeah.
Yeah. And is it, how many people are on the site now?
Maybe about 24 or so.
24, yeah. And does not everybody lives with no money on? Do they?
Yeah, there are some people that sign on.
Yeah.
There are a couple of people that work.
Yeah.
But I would say the majority of people, and the people that originally came to the site and founded it, are living without money.
Yeah. Okay. And so you've been here 11 months, and have you been living? I call it off the grid or off the land for 11 months or longer.
No, well, pretty much. Yeah. I lived in a squat for a month before I came here.
Yeah.
But pretty much, yeah, we're not completely self-sufficient.
No, totally.
I think it's unrealistic to expect people to do that, but that's something we're working towards.
Yeah. And if I asked you, like, what's the main message? I know you say living sustainably, but what's the main message that you feel collectively the village has? If there is a collective vision.
I'm not sure there is. I can speak from my experience.
Please.
Just, I think some of us came into information about stuff that's going on in the world.
Yep.
About how the wars are fought, why the wars are fought, how the wars are created.
Yep.
And also just like looking around, walking about the cities, how people are with each other.
Yeah.
And I think
interaction.
Yeah, we just wanted to just create an example of show people it doesn't have to be this way and offer a solution, because lots of people that are activists that are telling people that like this is wrong, that's wrong, but they're not providing the solution. And that's
totally.
Before I came here, I was really heavily involved in activism and 9/11 truth and telling people about the illegality of the wars.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
It's
really
not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough, is it? Because I'm the same as you, Gav. I read a lot on the internet. I see a lot of documentaries. I see a lot of people talking about what should be done and what shouldn't be done. And then you got the people saying it's conspiracy and so on. But you're not actually seeing. We're not actually seeing the action, are we? We're not seeing the change.
To answer your question, for a group ethos, I think it is to be the change that we want to see in the world.
Yeah. The famous words of Gandhi, and a lot more people are speaking that now as well, right? But do you feel there's a lot more actually doing in the 11 months that you've been out there? Are you seeing more and more people doing now?
Yeah.
Being the change, yeah?
Yeah, well, there's a village started in Bristol a month or so ago. This village, its time may come to an end, but there's 3 villages that may be starting from it, and one being on Parliament Square. And
just tell me what that one's about. It's called Democracy.
It's called a Democracy Village. There's a woman called Maria who's been living at Parliament Square for 5 years.
Yeah.
And we've known her for a good 2 or 3 of those years.
Yeah.
And she's very familiar with what's going on here. And she was involved in meetings before May 1st with the people that organised the G20 demonstrations.
Yeah.
About how they could capitalise on May Day and maybe just push something forward.
Yeah.
And so from that, partly inspired by this place, a democracy village has been set up in Parliament Square.
Okay.
I think early on, like a broad message that is being put across is that we want the troops out of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Hopefully, lots of people can get around that, irrespective of all different interests.
Yeah.
We just want the wars to stop.
Yeah.
But I think the intention is over the next couple of weeks, as more people find out about it, hopefully people like you make films about it and take pictures, that more people will know. More people can come down and express
their belief, and that they want it out.
They care about.
And just to add to that, right? Because I've got a strong thing about protesting, which is that sometimes we protest and people protest outside the Houses of Parliament or wherever it might be, and I often vision that the people who are in the Houses of Parliament, they're looking out the window and they're going, oh guys, look, there's something good to look at today. Look, you know, they're not changing their mindsets. Do you see what I mean? Because it's the mindsets of the people in governments, the mindsets of the people that are controlling the war and so on, that actually have to go, guys, this is hypocrisy. We're killing innocent people, it's stupid, we're killing our innocent troops. Let's just, you know, because if nobody goes to war, if every soldier woke up and didn't go to war, there wouldn't be a war, right?
That's right.
But the soldiers are not changing their mindset.
I should add to that though, the reason that we are at war is because of things like oil, and that's because of our reliance on it. So if we can withdraw our reliance off oil, lots of science suggests that it's already peaked, that half the oil on the planet has already been taken out of the ground. So from now on it's going to be more expensive, much harder to get that oil. Pretty much everything that we use has some kind of comes from oil.
Of course, everything.
So
basically you're saying that the more we can go back to basic living and living off the land, like you say, but also not needing consumerism, not needing all this stuff that is of no use, then all of a sudden we don't have such a demand for these things that are of no use, therefore we don't have to keep killing everybody to get it. But
not looking at our elected representatives to care for our interests. I think a lot of the time they've got corporate interests in mind.
Definitely.
So we have to be the change, not expect them to do it.
Yeah, totally.
And so if you, I don't know, just promote that idea. And I think
I like it. Promote that consciousness, share that vision, and the more people that open their mind to it, then hopefully we get the masses slowly evolving.
Absolutely.
Gareth, thanks for your time. I know you got to shoot. I'm going to have a little look around. It's the first time I've been down here, so thank you very much. Take care. Okay, good stuff. Okay, this is Dom. I've just met Dom down on the Eco Village in Kew. Hello, Dom.
Hello, mate.
Nice to meet you, and thanks for having a chat with me. So, I know you've been down here for how long?
I've been here for about 3-4 months.
3-4 months, yeah. And this, as you've just told me, this was a shack that was already up, yeah.
Yeah, it was already up because, like, what we've been doing, like, since I've been here, there's a building over that way which is called the Mansion, and people either have been staying in there or the communal space, which is the big bender. And then when some space comes free or available, and people have been here working hard and getting involved with the group, they're allowed to stay in a bender.
Okay.
And
so these are called benders, right?
Yeah.
Basically. Okay.
Because they've got the wood, it's bent over, tied up, all the rugs and everything are put over the top and the tarps over, and this one's got a wood burner in it.
Yeah, so I noticed that as well. Yeah.
It's lovely and warm.
Yeah, and so I don't want to say hierarchy on the thing, but is there like a group of guys that are, you know what I mean? How can I word like not like a government? Do you know what I mean? But there's like main people that have been here longest that they can sort of decide like that's your bender or
there is a group of people here that people do look up to more, but there isn't nobody that claims to be any kind of an authority type figure
in charge.
No, because like the way I see it is, I'm my own authority. I construct myself as long as I'm honourable at most times and like deal with things as they go. But if you start having like somebody saying dictating to you, it's going to cause an upset. But what we do is we have meetings and we have a consensus, and then the consensus is it's not a rule. It's just a request.
Yeah. So in relation to this one's been here about a year.
Yeah, 11 months. Yeah.
And from some of the characters that I've met today, obviously still you've got many different walks of life coming into an environment as just like society, and a lot of people have got different views, right? Like what we were speaking about.
Yeah, of course,
earlier.
That's what makes a community.
That's what makes the community, right? Which is great, yeah, so that's good. And would you say, in your experience on an eco-village, there's more understanding or empathy or a bit more better communication?
Well, the way I see it, it's like with the outside sort of like world, you've got a lot more people. With here, it's a tight community, so you've got all walks of life, and it's quite intense because you've got very passionate people that live here about what they believe in, and when you get that many passionate people, it can clash. But I think it's wonderful. Since I've been here, it's like it was great energy when I first come here. Just when I walked off site to go back to stay at my mates, it was just I want to go back there, and then I've just come back and then ended up integrating into being here permanent.
So you're buzzing off the energy from here, like you said. A lot of people are quite passionate and so on. And what would you say the general the general message of this eco-village, or no, because you've been in many, right? So just the general message of an eco-village. I'm sure it's broad.
I haven't been in many eco-villages.
No?
This is the first time I've ever stepped this far outside the system.
Yeah?
And
perfect.
That is basically because with what I'd studied and everything, I come here, I was on the Facebook group from Near Enough to Start. I was sending them messages, but I was living up north and I never got any replies. And then when I come back to London, a few of my friends from up north come down and said they wanted to go to the Eco Village. And I come here and it was Eco Village, but it was like a activism breeding camp. It was like, I see what was happening. It was like, this fits me so well. Yeah. And it's a great step outside the system. And I thought, this is for me. Yeah. So I took that huge leap.
Okay. So you'd been doing the research, and from our conversation, you're quite knowledgeable in a number of things. So you wanted to get out of society.
Yeah, well, their society, the law society.
The law society, yeah. And I spoke to somebody earlier. And what's your main reason for wanting to get out of society? If there's
a bit of freedom, because the way I see it, from a very young age, we are duped. We're taken away from. Well, our parents are duped. The whole system, everyone I believe, is duped because. Well, if you don't mind me going into the law side, it's basically they've set up this system of control, and they start it with the birth certificate. Your parents submit an application of registration, and to submit is to give up. Application is to beg and to know what you're begging for, and registration is transfer of ownership. These are definitions from the Black's Law Dictionary. So what you're doing when you're signing these forms, you're begging to give up ownership. Now, what the government do is under law of the sea, not common law, which is law of the land, under Admiralty maritime law, they put salvage rights on it, and they've used the birth as a commodity to back the value of the pound. Now, that birth certificate is basically a stock share. You hold it up to light, it's printed on bonded paper. Only bonds are printed on bonded paper. It says at the bottom, this is not to be used as identification. So you think, well, what's this for then? Yeah. And you start finding out that basically that is the tool that they use to enslave you. Yeah. Because all the statutes and acts are acting upon the person, and the person being the birth certificate, not you. Because you look at the legal definition of person, it's a corporation stroke legal fiction. Yeah. And they need you to consent to be in that before they can act upon you. Yeah. And when I come here, it's like, no statutes and acts are being enforced here. Yeah. This is for me. It's like, as long as you don't cause harm, loss, fraud, or breach of the peace, that's it. So I thought, this is for me. Okay, this is good, and also I can exercise, the information and knowledge that I now have found and come across. Well, that's what I hoped.
and would you say? I know you feel strongly about this, but is this? How would you? If you had a dream, not a dream, but you know what I mean, how would you hope it to work or hope it to pan out? Not now, maybe, in the coming years.
Well, the plan is we're going to take another field on whatever you want to label it, free man on the land principles or lawful rebellion, common law, or whatever you want to see it. But we're going to take a land and use it on them principles, because basically we was told here that we can do what we can with the court because the eviction order was served, so we can do what we know because we've got nothing to lose by trying it. Yeah. Because everything else that's been tried before is the same thing. Yeah. You go in, you beg and plead, and they give you 7 days, get out. Yeah. Now, if the consensus of the group was, you may as well try it, got nothing to lose, and then come the day of the court, two people just was very vocal about it, saying you'll make people look like madmen and you won't give them a chance to speak. All we wanted to do was go in there, ask the judge to honour his oath. He wouldn't be able to because he wanted a commercial court instead of a law court, and basically we would have got it overturned to a higher court at a later date. But these people went in there, begged and pleaded for a few hours, and when they signed the paperwork as defendants, then a defendant pleads, and pleading is begging. It's that they've basically accepted what the claimants have to say as a defendant, and they're totally in their jurisdiction.
So in relation to you saying that the courts would think that you're or the group, for example, the Eco Village group, would think that you was that the courts would think that everybody's mad. Yeah. So just explain to me what a way to cover it up.
Well, it could well be. It could be. You know what I mean?
Like the courts will just go, okay, these guys are talking absolute nuts. Let's just like they're crazy.
Yeah. Well, basically, that's the opinion of two of the people here. That they was trying to say would make everyone look like madmen. Whether they were saying it would be the courts to make everyone look mad, I don't know. But the statements we put in were affidavits, and they're basically unrebuttable. We're basically using their legal definitions, their terms, and telling them what our understandings of it are. And basically, where they're serving an eviction order, I was happy to accept their order upon my fee of £10 billion. Now, they wouldn't be able to accept that. They would have had to have turned it over to a higher court. I just wanted to get some extra months so we can get more into this to try and win back the land from the corporations, because a corporation is defined as a fiction. Property is the legal title. Any legal title is fiction. Yeah. So what they really own is nothing. Yeah. They own fiction. It's not true. So how can anything that's defined as a fiction actually operate in truth and trust and equity?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's nothing
so
there.
In other words, what you're saying is that fundamentally the land isn't theirs to tell anybody to get off of.
Yeah, it's basically, well, the Queen is holding it in trust until a competent heir comes back from God to claim it back. Yeah. So there's a big con game for you, and it's like somebody's going to come back and say, yes, I'm Jesus Christ, I claim all this land back. All right, where's your proof of claim?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a con game for them to hold the land.
To hold the land, control it, charge it out and so on. Really interesting stuff, and you know, like you said, you've done your research, which is good. So, do you think that the minds of the systems that are in control at the moment, the minds of the governments, and you know, for example, the royalty and so on, are ever or will ever open their minds to these concepts?
I think all the way up the levels, very high. You know what I mean? As you look at it, I've talked to many police officers, court officials, chief clerk of the justice system, very high sort of like status people, and I believe they're all being duped because they don't know this stuff. It's pointed out to them, and they think, is this guy just chatting crap, or has he got something? Yeah. So the people that I've talked to have got like the huge law books. They go and look it up and go, oh my God, this guy's telling the truth. You know what I mean? We are living in a corrupt system. So the police are taught to do a process, and they're taught that basically it's given the force of law if it's done correctly, but if it's not done correctly, then it's not given the force of law. But they're not told what the force of law is, how it's actually figured. So they're going around filling all these tickets out and the rest of it. People are going, okay, signing it and agreeing to it. It's just a contract. Do you know what I mean? They don't realise everyone's being duped into this commercial system, which is actually the law of the sea, not the common law, which is the law of the land. Yeah. So I truly believe it goes all the way up to a very, very high level, and maybe it goes all the way to the Rothschilds. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And they're the ones sitting there laughing, going, look at all these. We're controlling them like without having to do anything.
It's interesting you bring that up, because I said to you something earlier, and I just asked you this again. But one of the things that from what I see and what I've seen today, and what I also see just in general in society, is that, you know, it's difficult not to get caught into another drama. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. Because, you know, you have this new belief, a strong belief, and so on, and then all of a sudden, you know, like the story you told me recently, you know, you're trying to exercise the truth and using these things, but the people you're even speaking to, whether it be the police, whether it be community support officers, whether it be the judge, whether it be these people, they don't actually know it. No. So all of a sudden you're almost trying to not necessarily recreate the wheel, but you're trying to share knowledge with them, which maybe they don't. One, they don't know. Two, are they going to go home and do the research? Yeah. Do you see what I mean?
See, on one of our last arrests, the last couple of times, we've basically been going in there and teaching the police what we know. Yeah. And at first, they think, you know what I mean, they are the authority. So by what we're telling them, sometimes they do get a bit angry because we're taking away what they've been told to be true. Yeah. And they're like, they can't accept it. But as it goes through, they go off and it goes up the chain, and then I see it come back down the chain. They stop talking to us because they're not allowed to. They've been told, don't talk to them anymore, blah, 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 because obviously the people higher up in the police station do know this stuff. I've spoke to sergeants and that, and they've basically admitted to me that common law is no harm, loss, fraud or breach of the peace. Everything else is a statute and act and requires consent. Yeah. So when you're getting told this by the sergeants down the City of London, you sort of like realise that at certain levels they do know this. But like I've also spoke to PCSOs where they're like, one guy said to me, we're only trained in cycling law. I was like, what is cycling law? Yeah. And he goes, well, it's a bylaw. And I said, well, a bylaw is defined as a rule of a corporation. So you have to be a member of that corporation before their rules bind you. And I'm not a member of that corporation, so I don't consent to it. And he's like, well, I totally agree with you. And then we went into like The police are registered corporations and the courts are registered corporations, and the police don't even know that they are a registered corporation trading for profit. And some of them have got multiple CCJs, so how can they be operating a business for profit and also have multiple CCJs? It's just such an illusion that we're living in.
Such a mad system that we're living in. And you mentioned something earlier, just tap on this, just finally, because I know I'm asking you a lot of stuff, but you mentioned something about when a society, when a government is in debt, then you have no right over the money.
Yeah. Basically, where we're in debt, we have no money of value in existence, so they have to supply a remedy. Now, if you get sent an electricity bill or something like that, at the bottom you've got like a slip that you're supposed to send off back to them. It's a trans cash gyro. So it's a trans cash gyro. It's basically, that's the remedy, because whoever supplies the liability has to supply the remedy, because we're in bankruptcy, and the remedy will be your signature, because that is the only thing that holds value. So what you can do, in accordance to the Bills of Exchange Act, you can request the true bill, and that is the true bill. You can accept it for value, sign with your signature, and it comes out of your birth certificate, which is a stock share, and it gets paid off. It's like, obviously they don't want you to know this, they want you to fill out your name and everything on there and the amount, so they can dip into your trust fund, plus you're sending them a cheque on top of that, so you're paying them twice and interest. It's fraudulent, it's double bookkeeping, it's all sorts of things are going on that I'm actually quite sick of. And I think a lot of people are. And do you think you said there's 2 other eco-villages, but do you think this is going to be, we're going to start seeing more eco-villages? Definitely. And when we've claimed it on a lawful right and proved that we can do this lawfully as human beings or whatever, but not the persons, obviously. But when we do it, other people are going to be able to do it and not have to know the intenseness or have to study the law stuff. They'll be able to live freely by just pointing at the case law and saying, look, there you go. Yeah, this is how I'm living. Yeah, by just pointing at the case. So you're living in hope? I wouldn't say hope, because I do feel change. I actually can feel change. Even though at the moment, with this site, there's been a lot of energy ripped out of the place because of the emotions and the rest. And as I said, when I first come here, it was like such a place to be. It just warmed you. But do you feel that's gone because of the recent court case saying that they've got to leave? You've got 7 days to move out, right? Yeah, so everyone's upset, especially myself, because I wasn't allowed to perform and do what I felt I needed to do, which actually I felt betrayed. I felt used, because like there was the consensus of basically just do what you're doing, because like we've got nothing to lose, rather than try something else. And then the morning of the court case, I just said, well, go and do what you're doing, but I'm telling you now, the order's been served. So therefore, all they want you to do is be defendants, tick the boxes, and then you'll be out. Simple. 7 days out. And I was right. Which ain't, you know what I mean? I don't want to say told you so, but I knew it was going to happen, which is, it rips part of your heart out. It's like, how can I basically, you know what I mean? I want to love everyone, and how can you do it when you feel betrayed? It's so hard to do. Totally. Okay, well, Don, thank you very much for your time, and I'm going to speak to a couple other people, and I hope to see more eco villages too. Yeah, me too. Thanks very much. Definitely. Top out. What do I want to talk about? So I'm just down here today, and just what I just asked you really, but you've been on this site about a few weeks. Yeah, just over 3 weeks, I believe. Yeah, but as I said earlier, you look like a wise man, and so you know what's the message? Why are you on this site? And you know, and you just said to me you've been staying on protest sites for 18 months. It's a long story. I don't really want to go over it on camera at the moment. No, don't. But go on, give me. What's the message of an eco village? Of the eco village? Yeah. Well, that we own the land, and we need to get the land back and start growing our own food and be less destructive of our environment. Yeah. But and do you think are you seeing more of that? I don't know at the moment. I have to wait and see. So you're optimistic or not? Oh no, I'm pessimistic. I like. What's it? Wait a minute. I've got to think. Life is just a disappointment for which there isn't any ointment. Always look on the dark side of life. When life seems really good, it's something you've misunderstood. Always look on the dark side of life.
Bidum, 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 bidum. Is that bad enough for you?
That's bad enough. That's bad enough. But no, come on. You got to see an outcome. You got to see a good positive outcome.
I'm waiting for the total collapse of the economic situation within the next few months when they start making these massive cuts.
Yeah.
And we'll be back to the 1930s, and then revolution is a great possibility. The last time we came out with the Nazis, so hopefully this time it'll be something a little bit more progressive.
Do you want a revolution then, John?
I want no, not in that sense, because I don't want things just to turn around and have new bosses at the top.
Yeah,
you
totally.
know,
you think we need to collapse and a whole new reform, right?
We need a reform of society into a much more equal society. Get the money away from the rich and give it back to, you know. Or,
do you
not
think
all
it,
of it. Not all of it. I don't want to.
Do you think it needs to be about money, though? Do you think that the minds? Do you think the minds can change? Don't you think we've got some engraved, seriously dysfunctional minds at the moment?
Oh yeah, certainly.
Yeah. So do you think they can change in the next, like, you know?
Well, according to my psychic friends, this is going to happen in 2012 because this is, you know, they reckon that. But I'm not so sure about that. I think it's going to be the last impact of an asteroid that we're going through is 2012. That's what the Mayans actually passed on.
Yeah.
It's not their prediction, passed on, that this is going to be the last impact of this particular asteroid, and it will knock civilization back, as it has done every 5,000 years or so for the last 20 or 25,000 years.
Okay, interesting. And how long have, and that's very interesting to hear. And also, how long have you been a free man, a warrior?
A freedom warrior? Well, I fought this court case in Scotland I was telling you about before, and that goes back. I actually was part of the campaign for the Scottish Parliament, and I stood for the Scottish Parliament. I was the only one that did it to expose corruption. I had 500,000 votes. I won a court case proving that I owned the mobile home site I lived on, and they found against the facts, and on appeal that they'd perverted the course of justice. That collapsed automatically. But did that matter? No, they actually signed me up for eviction from my own house on my own land with no judgment against me.
And when was that, John?
That was 5 years ago.
And since then?
Since then, I've had even worse troubles.
Yeah.
But I've still been keeping on with the politics because there's nothing else left.
Yeah.
They have literally destroyed the rest of my life, so I'm now dedicated totally to the political side. Free man on the land.
Yeah. And sustainability and claiming back what isn't anybody's really, but claiming back what's everybody's.
The land is everybody's.
Yeah.
You can't own it. I believe in the Native American law that you can't own the land, you can only use it.
Yeah, totally.
If you're using the land, that it's yours so long as you're using it, but you can only use the bit that's big enough for you. There's no absentee landlords because they're not using the land if they're buggered off somewhere else.
But we're going to have to lose that greed mentality, right? You mentioned that earlier.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's definitely the journey I'm on, and I think the route that we need to get to is the mind and changing the mind and evolving the consciousness. Which you're right. A lot of people say that might shift in 2012, but I mean we need to make that shift now anyway, don't we? Individually first, and then hopefully collectively.
Greed, I think, grows out of insecurity.
Yeah.
If you provide a secure society where people don't need this. I was out in the Soviet Union in 1968, got involved with a girl there and went back to see her 3 times. And I can tell you the Soviet Union was a hell of a lot better than it was made out to be in this country.
Yeah,
totally. In the West. Most of the things were true, but they were exaggerated out of all proportion.
Yeah.
And most of the people I met there knew perfectly well they hadn't got perfect communism, and they believed in communism.
Yeah.
They wanted perfect communism, but they also wanted to visit the West. They wanted to come abroad.
So in other words, very rarely we actually know the truth, do we? That's another thing, because that creates uncertainty.
The media's totally owned by the people in charge.
Yeah.
And we need to change the laws on the media. We need to get some newspapers actually have news in them,
totally.
and fact in them, and the whole lot.
And support.
We need to take back. Indie media is very important on that.
Wow.
We need to take that back. And
thank you very much, John.
And go to the Sumac Centre in Nottingham if you're ever up there.
The Sumac Centre in Nottingham.
Yeah, that's just a little advert for veggies. The renowned and award-winning veggie company, vegetarian food company.
Yeah, I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Super, almost vegan. So people have to put me in that bracket. Okay, what's
Well,
it
I
called?
actually was pointing out to Patrick, who's the chief chef of Veggies,
Yeah.
that according to a science programme, fungi are closer genetically to us than they are to plants. So that means, as he eats mushrooms, it means he's not actually a vegetarian.
Ah, interesting. Well, that stuffed me. Let's not mention that. This is John. Thanks very much.
I know.
Take
I
care.
know. I like to make people think about their
About their beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you've just done that for me. I'm now no longer going to eat mushrooms. No, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Cheers, John.
Only volunteer mushrooms.
To find Myrtle. So there she is. Are you going to get some more water?
Yeah.
I will wait for you. So interesting so far. Hoping the sound is okay because it's quite noisy, and yeah, it's been very interesting. Met some really eclectic people, and with all manner of different views like we all have, but also I think all at the core wanting the same outcome, which is to live sustainably and live in peace and live with some freedom. But it's really interesting to take a step into a new world, as it were. So hopefully I'm going to get to interview a couple more people, and let's see what I find. Well, not find really. See what I learn. Don't worry about the hose. You're doing a good job.
Yeah, but it means I have to keep going back and filling up.
No, don't fill up. Don't go again. Let me talk. Let me catch you, because I've been told you're a live wire. Is that true?
A live wire?
Yeah, you don't stop. You're flitting around here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
So I spoke to Dom earlier, and it was really interesting to hear you talk earlier, and also seeing how passionate you are about this eco village, and I think maybe more than just this one as well. Can you just tell me where that passion comes from? Why is that?
Well, I started off as a peace campaigner outside Parliament, and I was like looking at. I mean, I've worked for Friends of the Earth in the past and things. I've been a staff nurse. I've done puppet shows for children, and I come up with this thing that we're all heroes in our own adventure. We're just asleep, and
Beautiful.
I was running workshops for people on being a hero in your own adventure. And this one that I was doing, it was for people with learning difficulties. One guy sitting opposite me, people came up with, we were going, what is a hero? Yeah. Well, first guy, there was all these different things, what a hero was, my wife for putting up with me, all that kind of thing, and the sort of regular one, which is somebody who's courageous, who doesn't think about their own safety but goes and does what they think is right. And then there's one guy opposite me who had autism. He said to me, there aren't any heroes, there are only villains, and he was really upset. And I was already a campaigner, I was already sort of like going to demonstrations and stuff, but I wasn't full on with that. And I said, well, what makes you say that? Is there any reason why you think that? And he said, Tony Blair. Tony Blair's a villain like this. And I said, oh, right. And I thought, this is really odd, because I wasn't intending it to be a political thing, and yet I was already doing peace campaigning and stuff.
Yeah.
And so then this other guy who got Down syndrome patted me on the shoulder and he said, Tony Blair's a bad man, Tony Blair out. He's got Down syndrome. And I thought, and he kept coming out with that periodically throughout, tapping me on the shoulder and saying this. I thought, okay, I'm saying to these people that we're all heroes in our own adventure. I'd written a story called Myrtle Merriweather and the Kingdom of No Storytellers, which is about the way things are, but from a folk-telling, children's being able to tell. And it's basically about this kingdom surrounded by a high wall that nobody's allowed to tell their story except the official one. And if you do, then you're in trouble. You'll be arrested.
And do you feel that's happening?
At the time, I hadn't been arrested.
Yeah.
But on the back of this guy who couldn't possibly speak for himself and do anything to prevent or stop what was happening, who felt totally disempowered by his circumstances and was so depressed about the state of the world, I thought, well, if he can't do it, and Muslim people can't do it, then I've got to do it.
Interesting.
You know,
Beautiful.
And the first thing I did was I went up to Parliament. I'd met Brian Hoare, and I sort of like stayed on the peace camp for about 15 months. And on the second day that I was there, I learnt that it was budget day. The first day I was there, I learnt it was budget day the following day. So I was back at my house in St Albans at the time, and I wrote out a big banner that I basically charge you, Tony Blair, with international acts of aggression. I claim my right to make a citizen's arrest on behalf of the Attorney General. And I basically had this banner, it's on an A1 sheet, and drove up to Parliament, broke through into Parliament, because the reason why was I wanted to make a connection with Tony Blair. I wanted to see how he could, day after day, do the same thing all the time. Keep on. You know, it's like...
So you wanted to ask him,
I wanted to make a connection because I didn't understand.
You didn't understand his belief or why he does what he does.
He could do it.
Yeah.
Because I was like looking at pictures of kids with depleted uranium deformities and thinking, oh, you know, like I've got kids, he's got kids. It just didn't ring, I couldn't get it. So I thought, right, I want to see if he reacts. And so he would be on the news because it was budget day. And the guy, he couldn't speak. I got home, 9 o'clock. I got detained for about 3.5 hours.
So what happened? You got in there? You got into...
Got in through the gates, drove up to the first barrier. Was getting... I had Skunk and Nancy Skankheads blaring out full blast.
Yeah.
Do you know that song?
No, but I know Skunk and Nancy.
The words on it, and I'm sorry, there's one word that's a swear word, and it's a pretty harsh one. But it's a black skinhead woman called Skin. She used to head this band. They're from Bristol.
Yeah.
I saw them at Glastonbury Festival, and they played this song. I actually ended up getting a CD. I never liked heavy rock music before.
Yeah.
But she's got a sweet voice as well as a rocky voice.
Yeah.
And I started watching the thing. I thought, oh, she's brilliant. Ran down to the front, you know. And Skankheads, I thought was particularly appropriate because I really felt like the whole world was on top of me. You know, like it was like I just felt crushed by everything. I just thought I can't move without. I don't feel like I can breathe anymore.
Yeah.
There's all these things going on in the world that I just don't agree with, and I couldn't. I felt really ineffective.
Claustrophobic, frustrated.
Yeah. So the chorus on it is "Get off me, get off, get off me," and I'm like, but there's a verse in it, and it goes, "Bet you're posing hard. So secure, a smacked up cunty bitch. Now you're stuck for words, struggling for sarcastic wit. But I've got the special knowledge of the crap that makes your skank head tick. All your friends you like, all your shirty pretense you deny yourself." And so that was playing, and I basically did this thing. And I was going for arrest of Tony Blair. And I got detained by the police. We had a really nice conversation, made friends with the police, meant I had a relationship with them that was ongoing, you know, and I still have relationships with those people because I think if you only way to change the world is to change minds. You can't, you know, like
you have to change the minds.
Or the heart. You can't preach to the converted because what's the point of that?
Yeah.
You know, you just, your little group and making yourself feel better about yourself. I didn't want to feel better about myself. I didn't care. The police said to me, "Why did you do it? It could have been killed." I said, and if I'd been killed, that would be less bad than living in the world that they've got planned for us for the future. I said, I've been looking into it. I don't want to live in that world and I don't want my children to live in it. I'm willing to risk everything to change what's going on, to start to create positive change rather than us sliding further and further into this negativity.
And create awareness.
I said, and also, I said, the reason I had to do it, I said, if a Muslim person had come in here or a person of colour, they'd probably be dead by now.
Yeah.
I said, whereas that's why I've got to do it, because I'm small, female, English, very strong, with a big gob. And
good description.
So I thought, just call me Gobby. Anyway, because I have got a big voice. I'm a storyteller, I do puppetry, and so I've got a really strong voice. I can be above the traffic at Parliament Square without a megaphone.
Perfect.
Telling people about depleted uranium, telling them it's illegal to pay tax, which was one of the first things I discovered. And as I went along anyway, Tony Blair that night couldn't speak on the news. He actually couldn't string a sentence together. And
so did you get a connection with Tony Blair? No.
I didn't actually, but I got a connection with him. I thought at the time maybe something else had happened to him that day as well, but the guy couldn't string a sentence together, so much so that it was on Have I Got News For You? I got home, Have I Got News For You was on. One story's just finishing. I was waiting for the news. I didn't expect it to be on there. But Ian Hislop says, "Did you see Tony Blair on the news today?" And I thought, whoa. He said, "Just look at this. You know his pauses? Have a look at this." thought, it's pauses, okay. So I'm sitting there watching, and Tony Blair couldn't speak at all.
Yeah.
Now, because he's got that pause, I reckon he's probably got a stutter as well, because that's like how they train to speak, without stuttering. And my friend's son had a stutter, and that's what he does. He has this pause. So I suspect he's got a stutter, which means that once he gets scared, he can't actually speak. And he couldn't speak at all. There was no sentence strung together after the budget. And all the family were leaning towards him. And I thought, that's interesting. But then I thought, well, I'm not the only individual in the world. Maybe something else happened today that's worried him.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, he had me detained before he'd come out of the building because he was that scared. Now, that made me realise that the thing is that the fear is what's running the world. And he's fearful. And the guy has been brainwashed, brought up in the way that it's been brought up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's not him, is it? It's not him.
He's just
a puppet. And you're a puppet master.
Yeah. And
interestingly enough.
That's really, I know, it's strange, isn't it?
No, but I know what you're saying. He's basically, fundamentally, the systems that are in place at the moment, even though we have faces of those people that are so-called speaking to us or at us at times, are actually not necessarily the people controlling anything, right?
Yeah. I mean, you go into Parliament and start going, instead of MPs' Treasury Committee meetings, go to something like, I went to this one, Amyas Morse. Ever heard of him?
No.
No, you wouldn't have done. Head of...
who's that, Amyas?
Amyas Morse.
Okay.
Right? And I was looking through all the sort of like meetings, because I started going into Parliament and in the other way, and just sort of like sitting in on meetings.
Yeah.
And I'd been going to the MPs ones anyway. This day it was the banking crisis. I thought I'll go to the banking crisis meeting, but I'll have a backup on it, because otherwise I probably won't get in, because there'll be lots of media there anyway. So I had this backup one, and Amyas Morse was the commercial, the director of commercial procurement for the MOD. So he's buying all the weaponry, the uniforms, all the other
the whole lot,
yeah.
All the equipment.
And I thought, depleted uranium, cluster bombs, he's the man. But it was a meeting for him to become, the title of his at the time, he'd got a job to start in 2nd of June last year, and it was Director, Controller, General. Director, Controller General. It's Chief Auditor in Parliament. So he gets to audit all the departments, and if anything needs investigating, then he'll investigate it. So money-wise. And
so he's in control
to take up his post, and it was like March last year. So I was standing outside, and I'd looked him up. I checked out what he looked like and everything, and he turned around. He was a very charming man, but he's one of the shadows. Nobody knows about him. And I said, "You're Amyas Morse, aren't you?" And he went, "Yes." He said, "Are you coming in here?" And I said, "Yes, I am actually. I'm very interested in government finance." And he said, "Well, you won't see anything very interesting." I said, "We'll see." And I went in, and I'd been studying the TPUC, the Freeman stuff, by this point.
This is TPUC. This is TPUC.
PeoplesUnitedCommunity.org.
Yeah.
I wrote a few articles for them when I was getting arrested, and how I didn't get charged and all that kind of stuff, because I was using "I'm not a person, I do not understand statutes and acts of legislative rules, given the force of law, with consent of the governed, I'm not consenting, show me the human being that's been caused harm, loss or injury." I've been doing all of that.
Yeah.
And I went in anyway, and I said, and in halfway, there was all these MPs like there having a nice little chat with Amyas Morse. So, we've had all this problem with expenses, what are your expenses like? And he was like, "Well, I prefer to have it was just nonsense. I prefer to have my meetings with, in my office with a cup of coffee and a sandwich. That's my experience." Right, okay. And anyway, he turned around and he said, "Heard anything interesting?" I said, "No, not really," because they had the little bell go, and they had to go off and do a vote. So 10 minutes, they're gone. I'm sitting there, he turns around all friendly and happy. So, heard anything? I said, "No, I haven't heard anything interesting yet." I said, "But I'd like to ask you a question." I said, the United Kingdom government?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I've looked at Dun & Bradstreet Credit Reference Agency." I said, "It seems that the United Kingdom is a corporation run for profit." And he went, "Oh, no, it's a public corporation." And he went to his two little helpers. "Tell her about public corporations." And they start to say, I said, "Look," I said, "I really don't want to get into a heavy discussion about public corporations. Okay, you're saying it's not for commerce, but now," I said, "I just want to ask you one other thing." I said, "The person that a person is a corporate legal fiction, create with the birth certificate. I said, they've been getting away with that for a very long time. And I said, I was never given a full disclosure, even when I came of age to understand what it was. I said, so, and the birth certificate is an enslavement document, and they create this person with it. And he turned his back on me. I thought, you're a free man. You're actually a free man. You know the truth.
So he just turned his back on you instantly.
Basically, and then the MPs came in a couple of minutes. And
How long have you been in this movement?
well, I was living outside Parliament for 15 months from March 2007. Then my father died and my kid's dad died as well within 2 months of each other. So I kind of like couldn't do that at that point. I had to be with my kids more, and well, I had to be with them. You know, it was really devastating, especially their dad. And then I was doing campaigning still, but not like so intensively. But I was doing a lot of research.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'd realised after Tony Blair had me penned in order to leave a building, and I realised he was actually scared of me, I thought, I'd been looking at the Nuremberg tribunals. I'd been looking about who had been charged and who hadn't. I'd seen that the head of IG Farbin was now was released by 1951, and he'd produced the gases and designed the logo for Auschwitz, which was Work Leads to Freedom. And I thought, the people who are the real orchestrators, it's out by 1951, advising the UN on Codex Alimentarius, you know, and bringing on all that control on food legislation. And I thought the real architects never get before a court. And I'd also realised that the money system was, I'd read a book called How I Clobbered Every Bureaucratic Cash Confiscatory Agency Known to Man.
Yeah.
By Mary
Elizabeth Croft.
I read that, and it's the first thing I'd read, and I didn't really comprehend a lot of it because it was like all these words that and concepts that I wasn't yet familiar with. But I did see enough in it to think, hold on a minute, I'm going to the Bank of England to reclaim my birth certificate, which I did do and got arrested for. But anyway, that's another story.
So that started in sort of 2007, 2008.
Yeah, and I basically realised that what we had to do was take down interest-based money and take back the land. You know, to take back all the land. And Simon Moore, he's been really instrumental. He found this site. He was really into the diggers and Gerard Winstanley and all this sort of stuff. And I thought, coupled with the Freeman stuff, we could really take back the land. Though I didn't yet know enough of the Freeman stuff to actually do it.
And do you feel that that's, you know, when you say take back the land, do you feel that, because we spoke earlier, do you feel that that's just going to create more conflict and then it's just going to be a one-on-one? Do you feel that that's going to open the minds that are dysfunctional within these systems? Do you think that's going to open the minds? Because that's what needs to be opened, right?
It does, yeah. I mean, the thing is that we've had our minds closed by being put in schools all day for however many hours, 6-7 hours a day. You're inside all the time. You're trained to be an obedient puppy so that you can work in a place like Morrison's or whatever.
Exactly.
And do bleep, bleep, bleep all day.
Yeah.
Now, if you had a child who was running through nature, building things, doing all of that, can you imagine after by the time they were 16, they'd be willing to sit down for 8 hours and do that?
They wouldn't.
It's obedience training, you know.
And you've seen that with children anyway that do grow up in, like, you know, nature.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
I mean, like, I was at TP Valley for a few weeks when my kids were small, and to see the children there, how free they were, I wanted to choose to do something like that myself with my children, but I didn't know enough people who were doing it, and there were a few problems at TP Valley, so I didn't want to go there.
And what's TP Valley? Sorry, was TP Valley another eco-village?
In Cumdy. It's like a piece of land. They're all TPs up in Wales, near Llandilo.
Okay.
And I went there and it was a beautiful place, but there was a lot of. There were also some traveller vans, and they just were dealing really heavy drugs. The kids were all being exposed to this stuff, and I just thought, I can't live here.
It's not good, yeah.
You know, there was some fantastic stuff. People who were so totally self-sufficient, like growing all their own stuff in the woods, and it was just beautiful. But I just couldn't reconcile the other aspects of it. So I ended up, like, my kids went to Steiner School and everything, really, and we did do the more conventional route.
Yeah.
Now I wish that I could do it again, because I was like, I wouldn't send my children to school at all, not a Steiner School or anything. I would want them to be out learning how to live
learning
on
off
the
the land.
Not learning how to fill in bits of paper, to learn how to, You know,
Yeah.
if they want to eat meat or fish or anything, learn how to get it
Yeah.
yourself.
Totally.
If you learn what you can eat, you know, the free
From
food.
from
Yeah,
the
it's like
from the
this
area.
place,
Totally.
It's just like full of herbs. I mean, at the moment they're not all up, but we've got like comfrey, which is good, is knit bone, good for healing bones.
Yeah.
And a friend of ours actually put it on his fracture. Didn't even have a plaster of Paris or anything. Within 2.5 weeks, the doctors were shocked. It was completely healed. The bones were healed. It was still weak.
healing off the land,
Yeah.
healing off the herbs.
Yeah, all the natural herbs.
Like the Ayurveda,
Yeah.
Ayurveda healing
Yeah.
is all about that, right? That's the Indian version that they've taken all the herbs and they take all the healing and deal with the psyche, deal with the mind, and
Yeah.
learn how to heal.
Yeah, and we feel like we've got like evening primrose and St John's wort. Like St John's wort, people think it's for depression, and that's they go and buy the capsules. You can make a tincture yourself.
Yeah.
You just nip the flowers out, not the buds.
Yeah.
It's really, you have to be careful. They're like these little 5-pointed star flowers.
Yeah.
And they didn't just use it for depression in times gone by. It was actually for battle wounds. They used it for stab wounds on the battlefield.
Okay, so
it's that
so
powerful.
yeah.
So we've been using it on, like, somebody got a nail, I got a nail
Cuts.
through my foot, cuts, all that kind of stuff. And it's
But
just
it's knowledge that's not
fantastic.
known, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing.
Well,
So-
that's
so-
right. They burnt the witches, didn't they?
Yeah, they burnt the witches.
They're herbalists.
It's interesting you bring that up because I spoke to somebody recently about healing, natural healing,
Yeah.
you know, homeopathic remedies
Yeah.
and so on. And somebody said to me that, you know, that's becoming more and more. We're opening our mind more to that. Now, I don't know if with some of the information you've shared and Dom shared today, I mean, obviously there's a hell of a lot going on in politics and a hell of a lot going on out of our control on so many levels, which maybe things will happen from that we can't control. But coming back to ourselves, coming back to, you know, who we really are and really learning, like you just said, learning about how the land really works, learning about ourselves, learning about the planet, learning about herbs, learning about healing, learning about maybe opening the mind to, you know, not just psychic ability, but all these different abilities. Do you
Yeah,
think
we
that's?
don't
Do you
know.
think that's coming out more?
I think so. I think that I think because I've sort of been intensively doing this it's over 3 years now. I really see the difference in people.
Yeah.
It's like 3 years ago, my friend was phoning my sister in Barcelona and saying that she thought I should see a doctor because I was so upset. And I was like, it's normal to be upset. What's not normal is to be talking about some bird whose husband's rode off in a canoe and she's claimed some insurance. To me, that's not normal. You know, it's like, it doesn't matter to me. It's nothing that I have any effect on. It's normal to be upset about children being born with deformities, isn't it? If it was somebody on our street, we'd all be going to the police and saying somebody's just done this to a baby, and yet it's happening to millions of babies.
Yeah.
And if I'm upset, it's because I'm looking at it.
Yeah, you're seeing the pain.
You know,
yeah, you're seeing the causes.
Yeah, I lost 2 babies at 5 months pregnant before I had my daughter, after I'd had my son. I know what it's like to lose a baby.
Yeah.
But to be at the point where you can never have a normal baby,
Yeah.
ever, that to me would have been, you know, then I wouldn't have my daughter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It'd be over.
Yeah.
And I just thought, these people can't have relationships with their husbands. They can't have anything, you
Yeah.
know, it's all gone.
Yeah.
Everything's been taken away from them. And
Interesting. So moving on from here, because this one's going to, unfortunately, people have to move, right? This has to fold.
Yeah.
So when an eco village folds, I know Dom said there's others that are starting up and
Yeah.
different, you know, and Gareth said that there's you know, there's others starting up in different places. So is that what it's like? And until it's accepted and the land's given to these people, it's just you just have to uproot and move like gypsies.
Well, you see, the thing is that I very much wanted to try something new, as did Dom. We're basically challenging the money itself. You know, we've been through an arrest that we've got a court case for in October, which is up on Facebook. It's on commonly known as Dom's Facebook page,
Okay.
commonly known as Dom, and it actually is. It's called Lawful Rebellion, Invite to Court, Free Dom and Mirthful Merryweather. It's on his Facebook thing, so you can have a look at it. And it's like, I feel that in a way, because at Tea Park we've got some fantastic research people, and then there's some of us actually putting it into practice.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people. I want to make change happen, and I think a lot of people who are doing the sort of admin stuff maybe their partners don't agree with them actually going for it as well because they're not quite sure of it.
Yeah.
It's all those things to
A
consider.
lot of fear, the unknown.
Yeah, and I don't have that. I have more fear that I'd have more fear if I wasn't doing something than if I was doing something. And we just, you know, with this place, it was an ideal opportunity, I felt, but obviously it wasn't because it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And the people weren't ready for it. When the people, I think it's a case of the people have to be ready for it.
But they have to know in their mind as well. So, for example, like Gareth said, that everything that they've superseded here and the message and everything they're sharing here is positive on one level. Yeah, because people have learned that they can live off the land and that they can make an eco-village work and people can come together and can draw resources and it can work. So that's a positive, right?
Yeah.
But what you and Dom are saying, that there's almost like now with some extensive research and some deeper knowledge, you can actually really
face them with the truth.
Yeah, and keep maybe the land.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, right, with the judicial system, the legal system is totally fraudulent.
Yeah.
And that's what I discovered as I was sort of like doing all this campaigning to kind of make change, to stop the war, to bring peace. I realised that the fundamentals were so rooted in our everyday language. As I started looking at TPUC and stuff, I just thought, oh my God, it's like we are living. This is the matrix.
Yeah.
This is the matrix of words. It's called spelling.
Yeah.
You know, magic spell. No, it's not a magic spell. All this nonsense about magic spells. It's a magic trick.
Yeah.
It's just a trick.
Yeah.
And I just want to stop it. I just want it to stop. I'm going to stop it.
Yeah.
And we will reclaim the land. They cannot stop us. It's never going to happen because there are too many people that know. Even if we were, everyone but me and Dom on here was some kind of agent provocateur or a sabotager or whatever, even if it was like that, it doesn't even matter because eventually everyone will wake up to this and realise that they're slaves. If they don't want to be slaves, then they've got to take action and do something different.
Yeah.
We want to take down the Act of Enclosure, for example. It's an act, it's a legislative rule of the Law Society. Given the force of law with my consent, well, I don't consent.
Yeah.
Same with the oath of the judge. The judge will never swear an oath because it's law of land. It brings him under law. Says he's sworn to uphold the law. He stands on his oath. He can't operate the statutes and acts because they're not law. They're legislative rules. You know, and the affidavits that we wrote were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, Dom mentioned them.
I think that it was quite interesting that when we went to the court door, we didn't go in. We couldn't make ourselves known because everyone wanted to speak in pleading, you know, making a plea. And there is this sort of... We didn't go in. We didn't do what we were intending to do originally.
Everything happens for a reason?
Yeah, everything happens for a reason. And I think that I'm much more used to courts. I know what court's about. It's basically about extracting commerce from you. And the other people felt that the judge was a nice man and they just wanted to explain to him, you know, and all that.
And he might reason.
People look up to the nice man.
Yeah.
You know, they look up to the teacher. We've been taught. This is our conditioning. You know, it's like we went and talked to one of the receptionists in the court, and we were saying about the judge not standing on his oath. This was yesterday, and that our affidavits hadn't been rebutted. Well, they don't have to be because we're never there to uphold our statements in the court, so therefore we've lost that little thing, but we've learnt loads. She was basically, I said, you know, the judges are meant to stand on their oath. Oh, well, I can't, you know, talk about that. I said, but if it was anyone else other than a judge, you'd question who they were. If it was someone, you know, coming round to, like, force you to pay your TV licence or something, you'd want to know who they were. You know, you wouldn't just let any stranger into your home, and you wouldn't just let any stranger have jurisdiction over you. Because he says, I am district judge, you never question it.
Yeah, it's
but
just
they
accepted.
do have an oath. Oh, well, I can't really, like, comment on that because, you know, he's the judge. It's like, there really is this, even if you are kind of in rebellion, there's this like, fear, big building, big chair, you're sitting up there.
Yeah.
It's like teacher, it puts you back into child.
Yeah, so you're already in it's already a status of power,
Yeah.
which actually it plays on your innermost fears, which already takes away any strength or truth or love that you know is there, because all of a sudden it's like, oh no,
You've got to
you have
abide
to
by
cower.
his rules.
Yeah.
You've got to. He's set, their rules apply.
Yeah.
So people might get annoyed with me because I'm saying, "Hold on a minute, mate. Where's your oath?"
Yeah.
It's like, you can't question him. He's sitting there. We're going to just go in and talk.
Yeah, and it doesn't work.
And I think people will realise, but it just wasn't the right time.
No.
And I think that one of the biggest things I've learnt here is that there is this real cult of personality and status and power and all the rest of it. And I'm just as susceptible to it as anybody else. And I think that you really have to wise up to it, because people will sabotage what you're doing sometimes.
No matter
but
what you're in.
Surreptitiously, behind your back, and be very nice to your face. The people who are easy to spot are those who are pretty nasty straight off, or, obviously hiding something. But charismatic people, I think, beware.
This one's even got a path into the hut. So they've got little gardens. Little areas of each one. Bottle of vodka. Down here seems to be the growing gardens, I think. Potatoes. Got potatoes there. Got a punch bag going on. Must be the fitness area. I don't know what this is. If they're growing more vegetables down here. Carrots, there you go. That one's carrots. Oh, here we go. Broccoli. Sprouts. And onions. So this is the garden that I'm in now. It's from the back of the eco village. And the houses actually, they're not called houses, are they? They're called what was they called again? Pods. They're sort of pods to me, but they're not pods. And this is the wall with the graffiti on. I am, I exist, I will be happy. Love and peace. I grow you, you grow me. And here we've got some broad beans and peas, white onion, red onions. It's like the water tank there. More growing here. So what goes on in this area?
It's sort of like a communal fire area. This is where we come down to have our fires. It used to be up there where that big tent is.
Yeah.
Now it's down here. It's really beautiful. We all get around there at night, you know.
Big fire.
Cook stuff on it.
Yeah.
Make tea, whatever. It's really it's a good activity for the village, I think.
Yeah, nice community feel.
That's right.
All hanging out.
Yeah.
I just noticed there. I just walked through there. Obviously, that's the growing patch. Is that still live, or is that a case of it's dying out now? I know you guys are moving on.
I'm not moving on.
No?
I'm not too sure what's going on with that. I don't live here, so
Okay.
I'm just a frequent visitor.
You just frequently visit, yeah?
That's right. It's just like a home away from home. I was planning to live out here for a while, but with this news of the eviction and whatever, it's going to be a bit difficult. So we're going to stick it and see what happens, but other than that, I'm not too sure.
And how long you been here?
About 4 days now.
4 days, yeah?
4 days, yeah.
But visited before?
Yeah, I've been here. This is my third time coming out. I was here just a week ago for another 4 days. And so, yeah. And a month ago for one night. And then that one night was the first time I've ever travelled out of Swindon. Okay? And I've never really been anywhere else other than that. And I just fell in love with this place. It's so beautiful.
Beautiful, and
So I have to come back.
and it's the same as what Dom said. The energy is really like attractive, and you know it draws you in. It's a beautiful collective energy, you know.
Yeah, it is exactly that, and you can be yourself. I spent all of my time here speaking with people, learning from people. You know, we've had some amazing conversations, which
Yeah.
is something that it's quite rare to get back
Yeah.
in Swindon. It's really difficult for me to have opportunities like that.
Yeah.
And so coming here, it was almost like a world of options just opened up for me. I didn't know there was so much going on, and so I'm really happy about this place.
So the mind is expanded,
Yeah.
and you feel that there's new opportunities for you now as well.
Definitely. I've learned about all these new villages. I've learned about all these new projects going on. Titnall Woods is one I'm specifically interested in.
Yeah, is that where they're living in the woods, in
yeah,
the
living in
houses?
tree houses, yeah.
Ah, what's it called? Because we just had a speak about that.
Titnall Woods.
Titnall Woods.
Titnall Woods. It's
Yeah.
down in Worthing.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm really interested in going there too.
So is that, you think that's going to be a venture soon for you?
Yeah, it will be very soon for me actually, sometime within the next month. My actual plan is to go around to as many of these types of projects as possible, and eventually I will take all of the knowledge that I have back to Swindon and start off another village. Hopefully offer my mum a way out of the system, you know.
Beautiful.
That's what I want to do. But I have to learn first because I'm not well travelled, I'm not well experienced with this living off the land kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
All I've done is read about it, and that just doesn't cut it. So.
No, a few people have said that. So you can read books all day long, but until you implement the knowledge, huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
There's no point in having it if you haven't.
Yeah.
If you're not functioning with it. So.
Yeah, and you learn your own route as well, don't you? Once you've got some knowledge, you read a book, for example, how to, you know, you might read a Ray Mears book on how to bloody survive out in survive in the woods, but till you get out there, you know, you don't know what's going to happen,
Yeah,
right?
you could read that book and it could be the very book that kills you. So, yeah.
Have you seen Into the Wild?
I have. It's an amazing film.
Yeah.
It's a true story, I believe. and
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
read a lot about that as well. And actually, I did a very similar thing with my friend. Last year, the year before last, we sold all of our laptops and computers, everything we had.
Yeah.
And we went out, and all we wanted to do is go drifting from place to place, doing whatever, living off the land.
Yeah.
We lasted for 2 days in a forest where we frequently camped before we went back. Got a taxi home, kebabs, the works. You know, so that didn't work.
It was a start though, right?
Yeah, my intentions are still there. I learned a new word today, actually, nomadic,
Yeah.
to be moving on.
Definitely.
I feel like
I love that.
Yeah, my spirit, if there is such a thing in there, I feel is wandering, you know, it's a wanderer.
I think there's a spirit in there, definitely.
We shall see.
And you know what the nomad people always say?
What's that?
Whenever they leave or part or they do anything, they only ever say, "I see you in 1 hour."
Yeah?
They never say goodbye. They never say, "I'll see you later" or "see you tomorrow" or anything. "I'll see you in 1 hour."
Yeah, I say see you soon.
Yeah,
It seems
and-
a lot more...
Yeah, and you know what? And if they don't see you for 3, 4, 5 years, when they meet you again,
Yeah.
they just same straight back in where you picked up.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
no
great,
time.
that's
You know,
great, yeah.
that's their idea. Present living, no time.
That's another thing here. When I'm at home, I live in a flat, and I don't have to, but I live the same life every day, and it gets quite monotonous. One thing that I don't like about that is I have to live by the clock,
Yeah.
which is something I've been trying to shake off of my life for a long time. And I come here, and it's almost as if there is no clock. I promise you, I have not looked at the time once since I've been here.
Yeah.
There's only light and dark, or light and no light, if
Yeah,
you will.
of course.
And that's great.
Yeah.
There's no limits.
Yeah, there's no rush to be anywhere, and you know you're living here, right? So if you do a bit of work, you're doing a
Yeah.
bit of work here,
Exactly.
and so on.
time, you know, I don't have to obey the clock. I'm moving through time, and it's great. And I'm learning as I go.
Good for you.
More people.
Good for you. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
And so you're going to stay here for a couple more, well, until maybe they come and unfortunately move you on.
I'm going to stay here for as long as I can.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. I'll be here, I'll be travelling, different projects, you know. There's lots more projects opening up around London, Hounslow, and this, that and the other. So I could, you know, get my fingers in those pies.
And if this video, because you know I'm just doing this for myself, I told you, didn't I? Just an independent thing. It's called SimonOnTheSofa.com.
Yep.
You're more than welcome to check it out. You know,
Okay.
It's about evolving culture, consciousness through transparency, love, and so on. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we got this video to some of the minds that maybe, you know, could also, if they opened their mind to some of our beliefs, then, for example, and they had the resources and the money, because one of the things I believe is that we don't have to go back to, you know, prehistoric times, as it were.
That's
right?
right.
Because we have a new mind, right? We have knowledge, we have understanding, you know, okay, there's certain systems and structures that don't work, but, you know, we have a mind now, an evolved mind, which with certain resources, with certain structures, we could actually make them really beneficial for us, right?
Yeah.
So if there's any people out there that might hear us talking and stuff, you know, what would be your message to them?
Well, I would say that, you know, we don't have to regress back to those times to be able to live free. You're right, we have much more information now. We have technology. Unfortunately, society is still dominated by institutions that are full of empty words that really mean absolutely nothing. But that's okay, because all we have to do is refuse to participate.
Yeah.
If we don't like it, if we don't like the political system, we don't like economics, whatever, we don't have to participate.
Yeah.
That's one thing we got on our side now.
And there's ways to create new, right?
Yeah, that's right.
We don't have to. It doesn't have to be the government that we're waiting for or anything else. It's almost like we're old enough and wise enough to do it ourselves, right?
That's right. That's right. We don't need leaders. That's one of the. I think it's one of the biggest human problems is the need for a leader or a higher power. And so we give up ourselves. Sort of like searching for a higher meaning in life would suck the meaning out of the now, out of this moment. So I don't do that either, you know?
Yeah. Beautiful. You're just enjoying the now.
Exactly, if that even exists. I'm experiencing it though. I'm experiencing it, so it's just as real as anything else. I'm going to be here. I'm going to enjoy it while I am. Yeah.
I was speaking to somebody who's, you know, just in business, in the society, yesterday, an accountant, and, you know, he's a good guy, and he was just saying to me that, you know, even within that corporate world and within the you know, the constraints of what he's working in, the people he's meeting, a lot of people are very scared at the moment, a lot of fear, a lot of systems are breaking down, and there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Are you feeling that? Because in the sense, you don't need to worry about that, do you?
I don't, but I do at the same time. For example, say there is a complete economic crash, and we come up with a way to sustain life without the need for economics, then this village is liable to get invaded. Yeah. You know, so it does affect me.
Totally.
I worry about it indirectly, you know, but it's a possibility that we have to. This is why we're trying to pull in as much of the community as possible.
Yeah.
And there's never too many people, because we can all do this, and we don't need to fight, even in such a time as, you know, economic crashes.
Yeah, it's more like wake up and unite, you know, not break down and fight.
That's right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that is exactly right.
Listen,
we don't need to fight. So that's one thing I've learned since I've been here, actually.
No need to fight. There's no need for conflict, right? And if we're in control of ourselves, truly in control of ourselves, then we have a choice whether we want to fight, argue, kill, maim, or do anything else, right?
Yeah.
And if you connect to yourself, like you said, and you enjoy your life, why would you make that choice?
Exactly. I mean, why inflict your own, you know, low self-sufficiency or whatever levels on somebody else?
Yeah.
You know.
What right have you got as well? Why would you want to do that?
But this is this can also be used as a reason to establish an us against them mentality. Which I haven't got. Which you have to learn the difference between not fighting and really not fighting, and just saying we're not going to fight. But you know, there is an us against them mentality in society these days, and that's a big problem.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
We see through it. It's all a pile of crap. We see through that very easily. We see through politicians' words.
But and even when people want to fight, wouldn't you agree that when people want to fight, and I know you're saying you want to fight back, when people want to fight, a lot of the times they don't know why they're fighting.
That's right.
Right? And once they've even fought or they've let out their anger or whatever, normally they break down that ego, and then when you get to touch their true self or the love inside them or whatever you want to call it, they're actually on the same level.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. As I would like to use the example that you should never, if someone tries to fight with you, there's really no need to go down to their level. I'm not saying they're on a really low level or anything, but
No,
you
I
need to go
understand.
down to that. The trick is to bring them up and to try and meet eye to eye with you. You know, you don't give them the same energy that they're trying to give you, and you know, you can do anything from there, really.
Yeah, and then you can, like you say, you can become one, and you know, realise that we're all equal, right?
Exactly right.
You know?
I'm not protesting, I'm not fighting, I have no fight in me, you know. If we're talking about peace and then protesting, I kind of see it as a bit of a contradiction.
Do you know if you're being true to yourself, or false? Yeah, don't you? So you know if you're being, say, pure or maybe a detriment to what you're doing, yeah?
Yeah, the trick is not to act through a belief system or an ideology.
Yeah.
People have many belief systems, they're wonderful, some of them are very weird, that's okay. We can learn from all of them.
Yeah.
But if we operate through them, we're not operating through what you refer to as the self.
Yeah.
And so it's not natural. I would actually say, you know, I have experience and knowledge on this and that, but I don't really have a belief system of my own. I don't really think anyone has. And that enables me to operate kind of naturally and
openly.
Yeah, exactly.
Freely.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Because you're right, everything, I always say that philosophy, you look at philosophy, and all it is everything we are, is I've said this a few times today, but we're a Chinese whisper.
Yeah.
Because everything is just a story within a story, on top of another story, and then you get it, and then you take it as your story or not.
Yeah, that's right, that is absolutely true. We all have each other's stories, we have different stories, but we share the exact same struggles.
Yeah.
And this is what, this is beautiful, I think.
Yeah.
You know, we're all parts of everything every word we've ever spoken, every person we've ever met.
Yeah.
We can use romantic expressions like "I am you" and "you are me," but that's a pile of shit. I would say that I am part of you now. You're part of me, because we spoke today.
Yeah.
I've learned from you. I've experienced.
Totally.
You know, it's absolutely. This is what I'm here for.
And don't you think that connection's beautiful?
I do. I think it's worth having.
Yeah.
And you know where I'm from. The people speak in sarcasm. They speak in sarcasm and insult. They have no respect for each other, and it's a great shame.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't think it's going to stay like that for too long.
Well, hopefully, by me and you having this connection, I'd just like to shake your hand and say it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully, by us having a connection like this and never meeting each other before, but can speak openly.
Yeah.
And I know I've got a camera in your face, and I'll put it in mine too.
That's okay.
It's not just about Aidan, but we're here together.
The cameras, I try not to look at it.
No, but it's not just about sticking in your face. And what I'm trying to share as well is that you are just a real a beautiful human, and just like you said, whether the soul's in there or not, we're the same, right?
Yeah.
And just because people look at this village from anybody that's viewing this video might go, eco village, what they're trying to do, they're bloody tramps, peasants, or whatever it is. It's like, no, let's see the truth.
They can have those opinions. We all have a right to our opinion.
Of course.
But I would like to say that we only tend to have opinions to fill the holes of our own misunderstandings. For those things that we don't understand, we have to have an opinion about, or at least we'd like to have one. If I don't understand something, there's no need to have an opinion. Just try to understand it.
Yeah, be open to it.
But so when people have these opinions, it's okay. There's no need to take offence. There's no need to receive that energy and become angry or anything. It's
Totally.
It's fine. Once they come in and see what this place is and really feel how we connect and how everything works, they will love it too.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who they are.
Yeah. And I felt that walking in here today, honestly. I'm not just saying that. I do try and tap into, like you said, how I feel. And I like to judge my day by how I feel, in that moment. And when I walked in here, there was a peace. There was a peace. As I walked in, I even said it on the camera when I first come in, it just felt calm and peaceful.
Yeah.
And even with the upset with the news of
well,
Friday.
we've had good news today, actually,
Yeah?
because I don't know if you've heard this, but we've just been notified that we have another 7 days. So it's not this Friday, it's next Friday.
There you go.
That we should try and get as many people. We see these houses all around here.
Yeah.
All these people have supported us from the very beginning.
Yeah.
What do you think they would prefer? Do you think they prefer this? Or a block of luxury flats that no one can buy?
Yeah.
Or and a couple of cafes?
Totally.
I think they'd be with us,
These huts and stuff, they're warm inside, right?
Oh, they are fantastic, yeah.
Yes.
I sleep in the main hut, the big hut.
Yeah.
And on the sofa. So I'm not in a bed or anything, and it's still really warm and really comfortable. You've got the heater in there, and everything's cool.
Yeah, you got a proper fire in there, right? That's like
Proper fire, and the best thing about it, the reason I really stay in there is because I don't miss a thing. Everyone's in and out.
Yeah.
Conversations happening there all the time, and I can wake up and be a part of it. You know?
Yeah.
So it's really good.
And in relation to going to the toilet and water and stuff, is it just get water like from the jet garage and fill up bottles? And to go in the toilet, is it just pee in the bush and so on, or do you have to go and find toilets?
Okay, they have a hose that connects up to some water mains over there.
Yep.
And so it's clean water, you can drink it. And that is, in that white, there's a white box over there,
Yeah.
that's the water tank.
Yeah.
And you see there's a building over there with love written on the top of it?
Yes.
That's the compost toilet.
All right.
And right next to that is,
So you've got the compost toilet.
yeah.
That's what Mark Boyle talks about.
Yeah, and there's a gentleman's bale of hay that you can go and relieve yourself on as well.
So you got the bale of hay and the compost toilet.
That's right, we're all set up, really. It's great. I thought I was a bit...
Yeah, what was it like the first time? You was
Yeah.
like, whoa.
I looked at it and I was like, well, how does this work? You know, what do I do? You know, but then
You adapt, right?
it's not. I didn't even have to adapt. I just needed to go to the toilet one day. I went. And I was like, what the fuck was I worried about?
Yeah.
This is just exactly the same. You know, there's
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, there's no difference. It's just not a ceramic rim,
Yeah, it's not like you have to pick it up in a bag and put it in the bin or something. That would
which
be-
people do with their dogs every day.
Exactly, which I disagree with because you know
Yeah.
the ground is depleted of nutrients. I think we should leave them. Yeah, I think we should leave the dogs to do their business as well.
Allow the dogs to fertilise, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Aidan, absolute pleasure.
Yeah. You too. Man.
Take care.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming
Check out the website. And
SimonOnTheSofa.com.
there you go.
There's your advert.
Hi, hello Yvonne.
Hi.
Nice to see you. We met this morning, so I just I've collared you now, haven't I? I've caught you. You're like, oh, he's going to ask me to put the camera on. Yes. And I've asked you.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's cool, yeah. So just asked you. You've come. You're from Norway, originally
I'm from
Norway.
Norway,
Yeah. And you've been in this eco village for 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
And you have a beautiful 6-year-old son who's over there. And is it just you two? You two, or you here with a partner as well?
No, it's just the two of us.
And
Came to London like 8 months ago.
yeah.
And I discovered this village like a month ago, and then we moved in 3 weeks ago.
And discovered it just by word of mouth, or you see it?
Actually, on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I discovered it. I was looking for a new place to stay because I had to move out of my apartment.
Yeah.
And when I saw this place, it was just like perfect. One of the reasons is because I'm going to move back to Norway in June.
Yeah.
And we're planning to start an eco-village in Norway as well.
Excellent.
So this is a really good opportunity for me to have this experience
Yeah.
and take it back with me to Norway.
And yeah. So this is this eco village inspired you, or did you have an idea of doing, living in an eco village and maybe creating one in Norway prior?
I think like everything will be inspiring about eco-villages because everybody does different things and do it in different ways, and I just want to learn things from everyone and take it back and then
Take a little piece from everyone and then go back there.
Exactly.
And you're gonna go. You just said to me you're gonna travel down to.
I do want to go and visit some other eco-villages I've heard about in England as well, and they're in Devon. There's 2 in Devon, Land Matters, and another one I don't remember the name.
Okay.
And some people are at Parliament Square at the moment
Yeah.
because there's this demonstration over there.
And they're staying down there as well, right? They're living.
Yeah.
They're living at the
At the Parliament
protest.
Square, yeah. Me and my son, we were actually living there for 3 nights the
Okay.
other week, yeah.
And how does that work? People just put you up? It's just share a place, or if you go down there, how does
There
it
are
work?
lots of tents they have put up. People come and go, so sometimes there are available tents. You can just take one and stay there. You should bring some blankets and sleeping bags.
Yeah.
And that's it. And we share all the food, and we have morning meetings and
Beautiful.
can
And just chat and communicate and share their beliefs and so on.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And is there other children there as well? And is it a
There
mix of
haven't
people?
been, no, Benjamin's the only one.
What's his name?
Benjamin.
Benjamin. He's
Yeah.
the only man. He's the only. He's the youngest the freedom warrior.
Yeah, and he gets so well along with everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody plays with him, and he's really
Adaptable.
mascot.
Yeah, he's the mascot. Yeah, he's the Norwegian mascot
Yeah.
represented in London. I love it. And I spoke to a couple of people about this whole evolving evolving the mind and also working on yourself as an individual prior to you actually maybe trying to make change. So for example, you know, like in an eco-village, everybody's got, you know, deeper beliefs and great beliefs, and maybe sometimes it's against society as a whole, or against governments, or against systems. But do you feel that, you know, governments are they going to stand up to this, or is it a case of like it's just another, you know, it's another protest in its own fashion?
Oh, you mean the Parliament Square?
Yeah, and here and everywhere, because this is like a massive statement as well, isn't it?
It is, because it's occupied, and yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure about how to answer that question.
Yeah, it's because it's hard, isn't it? Because I asked that question myself.
Yeah.
Because I said to Gareth that, you know, we could all sit down there and you might have a, you know, how many times has there been peace rallies? There's been so many rallies, war rallies, and, you know, and I mean, we're talking millions of people in the streets, millions of people protesting, and they haven't pulled out of the war, and they haven't decided to share the land and so on. So, and I don't mean for any reason to give up.
No,
Definitely,
of course not,
you know, but it's almost like trying to work out why maybe they've not worked, and then, you know, try and come from a different perspective. I don't quite know what that perspective is yet, but you know, we shall see. Will you keep in touch with any people from here that you've met when you go to Norway?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely. I will miss them all so much.
Excellent.
We have a bond already, and this is like, it's my family. It's like, we're really close because we live so close upon each other.
And you're sort of thrown into that space in such a short time as well, aren't you?
Yeah, it's such a short time, but it feels longer. It feels like I've been here for months.
Yeah.
But it's been great. I really, really love it here. It's a sad thing that we have to leave.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna keep in touch with everybody, I hope, and I'm gonna follow them to the new site.
Yeah.
And just be with them as long as I'm here till I go back to Norway, and I will definitely come back and visit them.
Yeah.
And I hope, like, because we're gonna build an eco-village in Norway, I hope we can come and visit each other.
Definitely.
Get inspired from each other.
Yeah.
And
let's just allow that to grow. Just allow that community to grow, even though you're in another country. Allow that community to grow.
I'm in contact with other eco-villages in other countries as well, like one in Sweden.
Okay.
That is going on right now.
Okay. So they're coming up all over, basically, aren't they?
They are, and I think it's getting more and more. But yeah, and also the eco-villages in the other place in England. I hope I can, you know, get to know them and
share the message as well. Yeah, see who you meet and share the message.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's beautiful. And did you one last question before you shoot off? Because I know it's cold out here, and I appreciate you talking to me. Is your reason? What is your main reason for, you know, embarking on more of a freedom from society, as it were? Is it just that you don't believe in society anymore? Is it a case of, like, you know, things you've read, information you've found? What sort of set you on the path?
I'm actually really sick of one thing is spending money on everything.
Yeah.
Spending too much money.
Yeah.
Have too many things.
Yeah.
I want to be minimalistic.
Yep.
And the other thing is that I want to grow my own food. I want to be sustainable.
Definitely.
And I don't want to be I don't want to, you know, like, have to go to
be
the
dependent.
shop.
Yeah.
I want to be independent.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Don't want to be dependent of the state and then being caught in systems, and then all of a sudden those systems put up their money because everything else is going up and up and
exactly.
up, and then you're dependent on them, and then you have to find the money. Then you get depressed because you can't find the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Money. So I actually want to live my life without money.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Is everybody like skipping as well here for food? So it's like, or foraging, skipping, and so on.
Yeah.
Nobody goes to the supermarket and goes to buy stuff.
Sometimes if there's some things we need that we don't have or we don't find when we go skipping, we do go buy some things sometimes, like milk, sugar, whatever.
Yeah, of
coffee
course.
Or,
Yeah.
But we try not to.
No, what is it when you go into the you're going into the trees and you're looking for the herbs and the food and stuff? Yeah, foraging, isn't it?
Yeah.
Urban foraging.
Oh, okay.
So not skipping, urban foraging.
Urban foraging. Okay. I'll remember that.
Okay, well, listen, I wish you luck on your journey.
Thank you.
Love and support and all the good things, and thank you for talking.
You're welcome.
Take care. Bye bye.
didn't have much to say to that. Yeah, no, he did actually. He said, I don't think she likes ginger people. That was his response. Oh, God, yeah, that's what he said. I thought it was hilarious. What is funny?
Same thing, it's truth to speak. And that was it. I wrote this statement saying, if anybody comes and joins us, has to believe in love. Yeah, I'm not going to work with people who don't believe in love. I've got the perfect right to do that because they will just fuck things up, basically. So people have got to believe in love to come with this. And that was the other thing. All you have to do is live in love. And actually, I did say the stipulation was, you're going to join us, you have to believe that there is a conspiracy going on. That if you believe it's happening by accident, you clearly haven't got the truth, basically. And therefore, again, we don't want to be having this debate about whether there's a conspiracy going on. We all know there's a conspiracy going on.
Do you mind if this is on? Sorry to interrupt you.
Of course, no. All right. I'm a better on camera, don't worry. Yeah.
Sorry, what was you guys talking about? That sounded interesting.
Love.
Love is my favourite conversation.
What day was?
Right. Just blow my phone a sec. I'll send a text. Talking about my. Yeah, no, I've just been talking about also some of my work with the truth and stuff like that, and I've had several points where I really thought things were going to take off.
Yeah.
And then just completely from left field, I can't compare it to being like swatted by God for being cheeky, basically, that you get too above your station, too egotistical, and God just goes and takes everything off you, and obviously you're truly a true believer, you say, well, God will test me anyway, and I'm grateful for that test. But this time last year, it was all looking rather touch and go, really. I had nowhere to live, no money, and I didn't know about things like skipping, and I've never been a squatter before or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of thrust into these things, but I then realised what a great lifestyle, I mean, and I had actually gone on public platforms for many years and said, you've got to source your own fuel and food, otherwise you're not truly free.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I found myself actually living the philosophy I've been talking about.
Beautiful. So that's good, right?
Yeah, no, it's good. So this is all really positive.
Yeah.
And we've now come on a year from there, and I've learned a lot more. I was just checking out my stuff today, and I've done chapter and verse on it, and I know exactly what we need to do to beat the system, basically. I'm a man with a plan.
I like that. Sounds very interesting. So, and I heard you say something as well, is that, if you don't... One of the beliefs I have... Sorry, what's your name, John?
Dave,
Simon, nice to meet you, Dave. Yeah, one of the beliefs I have is, I was saying to the guys earlier, is if you don't find that love within yourself, if you don't find that inner or almost acceptance, forgiveness, calmness within yourself, release the ego, let go of all the fear, the pain, the anxiety, and so on, then unfortunately you're just going to create the same systems in a new environment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, but the whole idea of living in love, you've got to when you're doing something like this, because you come up against some really quite nasty information about nasty people.
Yeah.
And if you start hating those people, that's going to reflect on you, and it's going to bring dark energy and chaos to anything you're involved in. So you've got to be in love to actually love the New World Order. You've got to love your enemy, basically. And again, it just makes common sense. If you love, you add to the sum total of love in the universe. If you hate, you add to the sum total of hatred. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
And that's what I say to people. Why hate? I mean, obviously I accept we're prey to emotions. I'm prey to them still. But as long as you realise when you're hating very quickly and consciously think, you must project love to that person,
yeah,
you instantly wipe clean the karmic slate. God is not interested in punishing people if they've learnt the lesson. The important thing to learn about the universe doesn't actually punish you for being a torturer. It punishes you for not realising torture's wrong.
Ah.
And it's an important distinction. So we can all make a mistake. This is a very dark world. It's sometimes very chaotic. You're walking through a minefield at times. And therefore you will make mistakes. But it's how quickly you realise you've made a mistake, basically, and make good.
Yeah. To realign the karma, right?
Yeah, realign the karma. Yeah, there's no karma as long as you know in your. You say you've got to be in your heart. You can't just say, well, I've done something wrong. You're not really believe it. If you believe in your heart, you've done something wrong. That's it. God's happy with that. That's fine. And I say, man could learn from that. I compare the sublime nature of God's law and God's justice, which is love your neighbour as you love yourself. You don't harm the rights of another real man.
Yeah.
You can do what you like. Compared to all of their constitutions, laws, judicial rulings, which all actually account for the mess on the planet now.
Yeah.
The fact that we have white phosphorus dropped on kids in Afghanistan and Iraq and Lebanon and Gaza. And our government hasn't condemned these things. I mean, what the hell? You know, if Gordon Brown was guided by the principle of love your neighbour as you love yourself, there'd be no question that he would prosecute a war. You couldn't do that because you are living.
Well, you can't harm that which you love, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there couldn't actually be a war in the amount of slaying and killing that's going on. Full stop. How could there be?
Exactly. Yeah. And I say it's once you realise that whole idea that just by living in love, you actually change the universe positively, basically.
Of course.
And that also contributes to kind of stopping war and so on.
Totally, because and in that manifest, I was speaking to Gareth earlier, who said it. He said a beautiful thing about trying to change the mindsets of these people. But I said the one hard thing is that a lot of people that go to war, just because we're talking about war, so I'm mentioning this now, but the soldiers and so on, they're all going there with an idea that actually they love their country and they're doing a great thing and they're good people and they're positive. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? They're not going there like, for example, Hitler didn't kill all the people and think, oh, I'm a bad person. He was thinking he was doing good.
Yeah, exactly, and that is in a sense the problem, is that the left always used to characterise it, the army, they're all fascists, this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's not like that. You've got to understand that people think they're doing good.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
But again, if they were actually truly living in love, they would know.
They wouldn't do it, exactly.
Because obviously love is an expression for other souls. And to love your country's not real. It's an arbitrary boundary on God's earth, basically, that separates human beings.
Yeah.
So you cannot love your country. I might as well, love this piece of paper. I mean, it's just as meaningless, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what they've done. They've used false concepts like that, like love of country or allegiance to a political party, to create constant division. And yet, throughout history, what we realise, these battles of capitalism, communism, or fascist and communist, or Jew and Muslim, are artificial conflicts created by a higher power, i.e. most obviously the banking industry, to make money.
Yeah.
So human civilization is not about these kind of things we think of, people winning and losing battles, because the ultimate people at the top always win because they make the money and stay in control. It's been like that for about 6,000 years, but the good news is that it's falling apart. I don't know if you follow things like the free man movement.
Yeah, it seems to be, but so much. I spoke to a friend yesterday who's in the system, but is an accountant, and I mean, working in that in the realms of the society, the system as a whole. And he just said that there's so many people around him and in corporations and so on that are really, really scared at the moment. They're really they don't know what's going on. It's like they don't know what's coming. There's so much upheaval. Everything's collapsing around them, and everything that you got to remember that people believe in these things and they believe in them and they give them so much attachment and so much to define them as their life, that when they start to fall, well, then they're starting to realise, well, my God, I don't have anything, because they don't have, do you know what I mean? They don't have that core essence of being really, and loving yourself, accepting yourself, and so on. Whatever that brings, that calmness.
Yeah. The problem is that obviously what's happening is the universe is changing in the run up to 2012, but there's no acknowledgement of that in the mainstream media.
Nothing.
So people are realising more and more that their own experience of the world is actually in many cases completely the opposite of what they're told in the mainstream media.
Yeah.
Now obviously you're confident in yourself, you live in love, you can see that, and you can see that the mainstream media is wrong. But people who are less confident are in a situation where they just don't almost say it. The emperor's got no clothes kind of thing. That's what they should be shouting, and they don't say that. So they're going into these almost like kind of conflict within, which leads to all sorts of turbulence. And of course, when you start to feel that kind of thing, people want to take you to the doctor and fill you full of bloody Prozac and God knows what, which of course is the very worst thing when you're going through that spiritual awakening. God's raising your spirit, and those things are coming boom down on you. That's what causes mental illness. That's why people in hospitals, it's not because of the actual awakening itself, it's because of the frigging drugs the psychiatric industry gives people.
Yeah, because they're not actually open to it, are they? So they're just closing it off straight away, and they need to suppress it because it's the unknown. And what does everybody do? Fear the unknown, right?
Yeah, well that's it. They obviously the opposite of love is not hate, it's fear, and they rely upon fear so much through wars, fear of terrorism, fear of losing your house, fear of losing your job.
Yeah, fear of success, fear of failure, fear of loneliness, fear of you name it. Fear. We are unfortunately a culture of fear. It's a culture of fear, and I hope that's changing. But the thing is when you look outside and you try to talk to some people, they look at you like you are actually a little bit crazy.
Yeah, but all you got to do is live in love. That's fear. Conquer the fear and embrace the love. And of course, if you truly live in love and believe in God, what have you got to fear? I mean, there may be some short-term minor suffering and things, but ultimately, because God will test you.
You say conquer the fear. I don't think it's that difficult. I think it's really difficult being in fear. I mean, it's like...
Yeah, but that's because you believe in God. Yeah. I believe in God. I don't understand why these people fear everything in the headlines and so on.
But that's another point. If they are afraid, that's not exactly a barometer to what's going on. I mean, I can see how it could be, but that's not really where to take the mark from.
What, the fear, you mean?
Yeah, their fear. The fear, obviously it's understandable when things fluctuate, like the market fluctuates, then, the shareholders are afraid because they are mammon, oriented.
Yeah.
And that's a world of fear.
Yeah.
That's what runs that world of fear, not love.
Because when you live in love as well, you have no attachment, so you've got nothing physical to lose. Because what's happening is people are so scared of losing their home.
Well, and things, right?
And things, their possessions, their status in society, if they lose their job and so on. Because when you truly live in love, you're not attached to anything, so you've got nothing to be scared about losing. Simple as that.
No.
Yeah, totally. And the other thing though as well is that people, if you're saying love and you're saying God, and then you mention God, and you mention God to people as well, and then people are scared of that.
Well, this is because religions have made you scared of God. They've tried to appropriate God and they say, if you disobey our rules, God will punish you. And actually, your punishment actually comes from yourself. Because the principle of karma gives you back what you give it. So if you give it love, it gives you love back. You give it hatred, it gives you hatred back, so on. Yeah. So actually, you are responsible for your own retribution, essentially. So as long as you live in love, it's all okay. You don't have to worry about karma or punishment or anything else. And God does not punish you. It's karma that punishes you. There's a separate God who kind of loves you, basically.
So do you think the essence of this? No, it's cool. Just fight around. Don't worry. The eco village and the people that have been coming into the village and so on. Do you feel that everybody's coming from that base of love? Do you think people are coming from that base of acceptance and love, or are people coming just with anger against society, for example?
I think they're seeking it, definitely.
Yeah,
seeking an alternative.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. They're seeking like an alternative to what they're experiencing.
Spiritual community, enlightenment, movement away from that fear of scarcity and learning to actually be sufficient on abundant resources and realising that we have everything we need. We don't need money. We're wealthy in other ways.
Within as well, we're wealthy, beyond belief. We don't need these things.
Yeah, and if people just come for a look around, it's like it just takes them a walk around to realise that.
Yeah.
Usually.
And I feel like there's more connection as well. I felt like a real nice connection here today. I know you guys have had it. I think it's been quite emotional this week because of what happened on Friday. Sorry, I was just saying about the connection that's here. It seems like really free and nice and supportive, is it?
Yeah, in a sense it is really kind of free, but then in the same sort of the same thing, it seems a bit fragile, really, like it could just break at any time.
Okay. That's interesting.
That's a bit of a problem,
Why do you think that is?
Facing it's because it's not being in the system, it's you're not making these people any money. They don't really want you to show this kind of alternative style of living, especially in this particular setting, in the city. They don't really want you to do that. I think it's encouraging for people just to see how we live without nothing, and it's kind of making people just think, hold on a minute, all these attachments that I've got to my job, my car, my house, the local schools, the council, and all of these different attachments that people have, they're actually just built up in their head, and it's actually could all just all be just so different like we have here, you
Totally.
know. And you know, this woman asked me the other day, like, do you have kids on the site? And you know, I said, yeah, we do. We have a mother and a child here. And, you know, it was really encouraging for her as a mother, you know, to see that, you know, someone has kind of broken free from.
Definitely. Yeah, even though they've got children, because people use children as the big one, isn't it? It's like, well, you can do it because you're single, or you two don't have children, or you know, whatever it might be. So that's a big holding factor to stay in society, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
For
really.
that security.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I get a bit lost. I always get a bit worried when I'm being recorded.
No, don't worry, man. It's just you know, just flow. I'm just doing this for myself, so don't you know? It's just it's interesting for me, and I totally in the same mind beliefs as a lot of the people I've spoken to today. You know, is that. But one of the things I said to Aidan and I think I can't remember who Gareth, is that we have also evolved in our minds, right? So we have a mind that can actually use certain things in technology and in this reality, that it doesn't have to be so extreme, as it were. And I'm not saying that this is extreme, but do you know what I mean? People are seeing this as being very extreme. So people from the outside, it's like, oh, I don't want to go back to bloody prehistoric age. I don't want to have to do that because I've got all these nice things. But there can be, I think, there needs to be a bridge in between, don't you think? Or I think there can be. We're intelligent enough.
Yeah. Well, I guess kind of, you know, I do have to have that bridge, and I do still kind of get my clothes and I wash myself at my ma's house.
Yeah.
And that's still kind of, you know, I'm still relying on that. I think it's, you know, if I was kind of, you know, in a countryside setting, then, you know, I would be able to sort these minor issues out quite quickly, you know, by just washing in a stream or something like this, you know, but then...
There's no stream here. Well, you got the river, but that Thames is not too healthy.
It's certainly not, no. So, I was going to say something else earlier on, but I've forgotten kind of where I was going to go with that. Yeah, I've forgotten what I was going to say, but there was something quite important. Never mind, anyway.
If it comes back, tell me, because I'll put it together. So you've all been here, not all been here. I know it's different times and stuff, but you know, what do you see? You're going to continue with this lifestyle? Is it going to be like move from if you have to move from here? It's definitely continue with this lifestyle and move to another location.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But it's kind of like I said, you know, it's a little bit. Yeah, that was what I was going to say. It's getting a little bit worrying for me, actually. You know, just kind of inkling, you know, in my brain. You know, what if kind of, you know, I do kind of, you know, focus all of my, you know, energy and my strength on this lifestyle, and then it just kind of, you know, collapses a bit, like, you know, how. You know, you had this whole new kind of revolution in the 60s and the 70s where people, you know, they really kind of fought to make a change. What that change was in particular, I don't really know. I think it was just basic civil rights or something like this. But I think it was also, you know, fundamentally what we're doing right now, really, you know, to fight for this sort of lifestyle, you know, instead of kind of the industrialization on a mass scale like I think it was back then. You know, so in a way it's a bit boring because I look at them and see them and how they've lost their strength for the struggle, and they've just kind of, you know, integrated within kind of, you know, the system, you know, in these I mean, a lot of them are in co-op housing situations now, you know, and living off the welfare. I can't really mention many people that I know, you know, that were living this lifestyle in the 60s, and I do know a few. That,
I don't even know if there was eco-villages around in the 60s, was there?
Yeah, there was.
Was there?
A huge amount.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. There was masses of them. Thanks, man. Cheers. Yeah, there was masses of them. Yeah, there really was. Yeah, there's still a couple of big ones in Holland that I know of, and I think there is still a couple here, but yeah.
So they started from the sort of the around the 60s, around the 60s times, yeah. But I've never ever heard of one in the UK.
Well, never heard of
an eco-village in the UK
from the 60s, or
no, just in general. It's just coming up now, maybe because obviously my beliefs have changed and I've been following different information.
Yeah. There's a site called Diggers and Dreamers where there's loads of them.
Okay.
However, you know, it's a little bit difficult to get involved in those. You know, it's not really exactly like this. So open door policy. It's, you know, it's basically where you have to sort of buy into a piece of land, or, you know, I know this one in particular called Coed Hills in Wales, where you need to pay something like £200 a month, you know, so a lot of people are, you know, signing on or getting tax credits, you know, to be able to fund
so they need in the society to do it,
job, you know, living there.
Yeah.
And that's still kind of, relying on the system in a way, and I think it's a bit kind of contradictory to kind of live this lifestyle and sign on at the same time, because at the end of the day we are trying to show that we can live by ourselves, and live without kind of relying on these people, this system, and yeah.
And it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very, very interesting. But do we think, the question I suppose is do we think that it's going to change to accommodate this style of living? That's the question. Because I'm not 100% sure that
in the long term, yeah, exactly.
No, in the long term, I hope it will. Like Dom says, and everybody, the more people, the more the merrier.
Yeah. I mean, I'm putting all into it now. But it's like I said, there's still this sort of thought in my brain, like that what if I do one day just have a family and I need to kind of go back into the system? Is it worth kind of carrying on like
well,
this?
Maybe like Dave just said, maybe the system might,
like
but maybe
in the 60s, we'll just get flushed out and just.
Well, maybe like Dave said, the system will fall, right? So if the system falls, the question is, will a new system start up that serves?
They've been saying that for hundreds of years,
Yeah, totally.
And has it? No. Has it changed? Yeah, a little bit, because obviously, they need to sort of change it in certain areas to kind of, accommodate for people, but has it really, really changed in a few hundred years? No, never. No.
I think the problem is that it is that there's any system which is kind of like, one tries to live up to the system over and above living human beings. So like, that's it's kind of like.
What? So you mean the system takes precedent?
Yeah, the whole thing about capital as a word meaning accumulation of wealth, and also capital as capital city and being the the mother of a state system. It's like it's a system, and so, like the system would never be enough by itself anyway. And if you could have something that works and it isn't a system, I mean, the very idea that something needs to be adhered to, like ideology, and like, if somebody falls on the wrong side of the line of an ideology, and you've got carte blanche to go and exterminate them. That's been the problem of the state throughout history, and it's been the disingenuous means by which it continues to accumulate power, in the sense of temporal power, as in a system run on fear.
Yeah.
I.e. where all the living sentient beings within that system are full of fear.
Very confident at the moment.
Totally. Hi Becky.
Hello.
I got Becky at last. Busy girl, working all day. So yeah, I don't really need to ask you too much. I just wanted to get you just to tell me what because you told me when we met on the boat the other day how amazing you've seen the transformation, because you was one of the originals, the originators, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And where did you come down from?
I'm from South Wales. I moved to London about a year before I came here, and beforehand I was living in a squat at the other side of Brentford. I was with a group of people. We were sort of peace activists, I suppose, and we realised we wanted to live outside on land, do something for the community, and like have a hub so we can share our experience of existence. And we grew this up. Quite cool.
So you created a 25 home eco village.
Yeah, and I just can't really express to you what I've experienced in that time, because just having the time to really understand different people's way of being, and to learn so much, even with the people you disagree with, you can learn so much from them.
Totally, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and the interaction with completely, like you said, people that maybe you wouldn't normally even meet, right?
Yeah, and actually getting to see them in all their aspects of being,
Yeah, definitely. And also it's been quite amazing for me today, but just so many different people come and go. I've spoke to some people 3 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, and so on. So how many, because you've been the long runner, and you and Gareth, right?
Yeah.
And a couple of others.
Yeah.
But how many people do you think you've seen come and go here?
Oof.
Is it phenomenal? Is it mad?
I wouldn't be able to remember, to be honest. It's hundreds, I guess.
And do you think have you actually communicated with pretty much nearly everyone? Have you got to meet everyone, or do you just some people come and you don't really speak to?
Most people I try and speak to.
Yeah. Yeah, because you seem like, you know, everybody from today, everybody knows you, you're getting involved and so on, so I'm sure you have interaction with everyone.
Yeah, no, I would definitely try and speak to everyone, because everyone's got something to offer. It's just incredible,
Yeah.
And this place it's almost like magnetic, the way people are drawn here and how it's come together, and the people and the things that you need to start put in your place. You know, so that's how I know, or like it's reinforced to me that what I'm doing is the right thing to be doing at this moment in time, and to see the way this has taken off, to experience all the incredibly beautiful people that have come through the door and just want to live in love.
Yeah.
And
love and freedom, and be true to who they are, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not, you know, it's not rocket science. It's not some, like, you know, crazy belief. You're not, you know, nobody has to be a witch or you know what I mean. It's like, you know what I mean. It's that, you know, it's not about religion. It's not about anything. It's just about, you know, that the basis or what I'm feeling as well, and it's about the pure things in life, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's as simple and as complicated as nature.
Yeah, beautiful. And with obviously what's happening now, I mean, you've been living in an eco village for 11 years. 11 months, yeah? And in your mind, it's continuous now, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely, for sure, yeah. This, it was always really only the first prototype of a bigger thing, and already we've had like little shoot-offs of other groups, and now we're growing. We've got 2 new sites coming up next week, and they're fantastic. And those 2 have got like everything we need is just sort of laid out for us to get going, as if it's been put there in place.
As if somebody's going, hey, there you go. The university's gone, hey guys, you need a new place. There it is. And where are they based? Can you say, or you don't have to?
Yeah, well, there's one relatively close to here in Hampshire direction, and the other one's a bit farther out, like past Wandsworth.
Perfect. And a lot of people from here are going to move if they have to. If you do have to get evicted from here,
if we have to leave, then I should imagine the majority of people would be going to either or those sites.
And then you know, how do you see it in you know, ongoing from now on? You know, do you think these are? I know you're going to continue with them, so you just think they're going to grow and grow and grow. Would you like to? What would you like to have? Just one massive one with everybody, and also would you like some certain things from our society and technology to interact with them as well and make it, you know, sustainable?
I mean, I'm not naive to the fact that not everybody would want to live like this, and also not everybody wants to live in love. But my positive trajectory is that these will grow, and it's not. I mean, like the human intelligence that is created, all of the stuff that they're using to keep us enslaved in the system is real human intelligence. If that was directed in a sustainable way and in a way that was fair and done with love, then we could create whatever.
Yeah, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, and it's all there, and it's just that people do not realise, and all these minds are being filtered through the school system and the social system into like these jobs, and they get at the end of the day. I mean, people who have done like engineering, for example, in university, and then they find out, and my friends are telling me the only jobs that we can get into are the ones which are part of the arms trade. We have to be designing parts of the thing, and they're the only jobs. And so like sooner or later they go into those jobs.
Because they need the money.
And then they put to the back of their minds what they're actually doing, but it's still carried with them, you know. And all these beautiful people who are being caught in this kind of trap where they feel that they must like do these things which are completely damaging like this beautiful natural like Garden of Eden that we were blessed to be born onto.
Yeah, totally. I hear you.
Take it back.
Yeah.
Let the land be again.
And people just to wake up to what they're actually doing, right? Wake up to your actions.
Yeah.
That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you're not telling everybody to live on an eco village. You're not telling everybody. You're not saying everybody's got to live like this, or everybody's got to, you know, be how you are or anything else. It's more about, you know, wake up to your actions and ask yourself what's you know, what you're really doing. You know, what are you really serving? Are you serving yourself? Do you see what I mean? Would you agree? Are you serving yourself, or are you just serving a system and a society that actually isn't sustaining anybody?
Exactly.
You know. So yeah, and you said the other week as well, just when we met, just to tap on that, everything that you've needed or required just turned up, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's quite magical.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty special. Yeah, but then it's just not beyond like intellectual contemplation, because the fact is that we are very, very primitively evolved species at the moment. The human being thinks it's so incredible, but it's really only at the smallest stages of what it's capable of doing, and the energy that's out there, that if our brains were more highly functioned, that we'd be picking up with an energy that was able to that we could, because we're only living in the 4-dimensional space-time continuum, and once that is folded in on itself, time doesn't exist, and if time doesn't exist, everything that has existed and will exist is all coexisting at the same time. And if you're working in that framework, then you can bring things into your life by sort of plucking them out of the other non-physical paradigms.
Go for it, Becky.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So exactly. So like you say, so the way that a lot of the systems are set up are actually, like you say, prehistoric, right? They're almost
Yeah, exactly. And on a sort of more tangible level, like the language that we use is too primitive for the level of thinking that we're now able to achieve, and it's sort of holding us back. And it was very useful for us to get to this stage of our evolutionary development, but now we need to be freer to use our extrasensory perception, which we are all actually capable of doing, and and something which the people who sort of run these kind of systems, they don't want us to know, they don't want us to evolve.
Yeah. Do you think they're evolved? Do you think that they tapped into certain powers of the mind and so on? Because there's certain people think that they're actually trying to just suppress the mind and suppress people and keep people in that place. It's like one big control system, and that actually they are tapping into the power of the mind and the power of humans as individuals.
Yeah. Okay then. So your question was, do I think that they have evolved? And firstly, it's not one for me to speculate on that stuff, because we don't even know who they are.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not like but I can't imagine that anyone who's actually really evolved would be living in a way which is detrimental to the rest of the people in the world, because we're all one.
Yeah, because if he was in a loving, evolved mind, free from fear and so on, you'd be acting in a completely different way, right? The systems would be completely different. The support and everything that existed and was created would be completely different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hear you. Well, listen, you seem like you're enjoying yourself. I was watching you today and stuff, and you seem happy.
Yeah,
so
it's good.
Yeah, I hope that either this one stays, or you continue to evolve this. This, I won't call it a movement, but evolve it. Stick with it.
Yeah, well, we're definitely going to be around. Definitely.
No, for sure. Thank
Feel
you.
free to join us.
Yeah, thank you for making me welcome, and I hope you check out the site, and I'll probably be down again.
Cool, man. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Cool.
So here I am. It is now something like 7:30. 7:17 on Tuesday, the 11th of May. Headed down to the eco village at around 11 o'clock this morning, and I've spent the day down there. Met some really great people, and for anybody watching this video, know they're not all crazy, and they've got a great message, and a lot of them are coming from really pure, or almost all of them, or the people, everybody that I spoke to is coming from a very pure base. It's not about religion, it's not about any one idea or ideology or any one set way. It's just about each individuality and not conforming to lies, really. I think that's the message that I got today, is that the information age has really shared with us so much new information from all walks of life and different people. There was one chap down there that I wanted to try and record, who had actually left a job and come down. I might catch him another time. And he was working at DHL and then just gave up everything and come down, and I think from Liverpool, and you know, everybody else has travelled from here, there and everywhere, and there's going to be more of these eco villages popping up. So if there's one near you, this one about the tree houses seems really interesting, worth seeing. And if there's one near you, then I would thoroughly recommend. Okay, last video got cut off because the battery ran out. I've been down at the eco village today, and yeah, you know, there's a definite purity down there, a sharing, definitely a sense of community, and people are, you know, people are really just, I think, disappointed and feel let down with society, and rather than, you know, keep shouting and causing any conflict, they're just trying to live a new way, and from the outside looking in, it could look quite prehistoric and maybe not so clean and so on. But there's definite, all the resources that people need to survive are there, and people work together to make, you know, make life enjoyable, and you know, yeah, it really opened my eyes to just meeting a complete different mix of people all in one place. And as Becky said, it's probably something that she couldn't probably have imagined happening, but it's taught her so much about life and living off the land and actually surviving day by day and living more presently has taught a lot of the guys down there more about life. The question is now is, you know, is this consciousness and these acts of more eco villages growing and developing, you know, is it gonna wake up other people in the system, in the society that also may have the ability to speed this process along? They may have you know, they may have the ability to use resources, not necessarily money, but maybe money, but also resources that they have, and actually bring that into the world of ecology, you know, eco living and so on. I was speaking to two of the guys I met today at the end, and you know, they're saying that they want to develop one maybe in North London and also in Leeds, which is, you know, we've taken what they've learned from each one and really, you know, trying to build a more structured, not that this one's not structured, but building, you know, even a more structured eco village, you know, it's a self-sustainable village. And you know, with that in mind, it tells me that, you know, this is here to stay. I think this is evolving. More and more people are getting onto this. More and more people are enjoying it. They're opening, you know, they're opening up all over the country, in other countries, and you know, this is going to evolve. From the outside looking in, it may seem that it's at the early stages, but as I found out today, they've been around since the 60s, and it seems they are spreading. So, as I was going to say before, if there's one near you, then go and check it out. Go down there and see what it's all about. Find out for yourself. And other than that, that's Simon on the sofa on tour at the Eco Village. Hope you enjoyed what I've captured, and yeah, thanks for watching. All the best.